I'm going to be solving this exam that was given in, I believe, March of 2023, so quite recent as of the filming of this video. And remember, the point of me doing these videos is for, well, there's multiple reasons. One is to explain the problems if you did not get it correct. And also, it's for you to see how I'm thinking through the problems and any shortcuts I did, or anything that was challenging even for me, so that you can kind of avoid it next time as well. Things like that. Okay, so without further ado, let's begin. Number 1, in the no calculus section, what value of x is the solution to the equation, this guy? So you subtract 10 on both sides, so x is 3 minus 10, which is -7. Answer is B. Jacqueline spent $150 for supplies and gas, charges $25 for each lawn she mows. In the first week, Jacqueline made $50 after the cost of supplies and gas was deducted. Which equation represents the situation where x is the number of lawns Jacqueline mowed during the first week? Okay, so this is kind of one of those revenue, profit, and cost questions. Okay, so she spent $150 as like to get everything, to get all the supplies. Okay, she charged $25 for each lawn. In the first week, she made $50 after the cost of supplies and gas was deducted. But x is the number. So if we, how do I explain this? I can tell the answer right away is probably one of these two, and it's probably this one. This one looks right because this is asking how it represents the situation. Well, she starts with $150. Okay, she spent that much. So imagine she started with $0. Now she has -$150. She's in debt. Okay, and each lawn she mows, it gets less negative because she adds $25 to the pot, to her bank account. Okay, and after the first week, $50 is in her bank account. So you can think of it like that. So if we just change it from there, it looks like it's actually this one over here. This is the amount of money she gets for each lawn she mows, minus the $150 that she spent initially. This is the final amount that she earned. So the answer is A. But actually, let's see the answer key. It might be wrong. It says it's C, but that doesn't make sense at all. How can so if she mowed like 10 lawns, for example, she would have $250. 150 minus 250, she would profit actually, because she would have gained $100. You can't have a negative number here, so I don't think the answer key, at least from the document that I found, is correct. So the answer should be A. As I explained, this is the amount she gets because she charges $25 per lawn. This is the X is the amount of lawns she mows. You subtract the initial $150 she initially spent, and then she's left with $50. She earned $50 pretty much. Okay, so it should be A, not C. Unless I'm wrong, and you can leave it in the comments as to why. Okay, what is the solution x, y to the given system of equations? Okay, so how do we do this? Well, we can move this into over there. So minus 14x minus 7 is 18x plus 25. Okay, the system of equation, both the x and y need to be the same in both equations. So let's solve from here. This is what? 32x. This is 25 plus 7. That is 32 as well. Okay, so x, that should be -32, sorry. X is -1 then. And by the looks of it, it should be B, because x is -1. We can double check real quick. If x is -1, 18 times -1 plus 25, that is 7. That's right. The given equation relates to positive numbers a, b, x, y. Which equation correctly expresses a in terms of the other variables? Okay, so this is ax minus y equals bxy. We want to solve for a. Let's do that. It's ax is bxy plus y. So a is bxy plus y over x. And by that, the answer is A. Okay. Function h models the height in meters of a football t seconds after it's kicked, which is the interpretation of h of 2 in this context. So h is the height, so 0.4 is the height. T is time in seconds, so this is 2 seconds, the time. Okay, so let's look at the choices. Football has a maximum height of 0.4 meters. Do we know that it's a maximum? Let's skip that for now. Has a maximum, again, we don't know if it's a maximum or not. Football has a height of 0.4 meters 2 seconds after it's kicked. That's exactly what this is right here. So probably it's C, but let's look at D. Football has a height of 2 meters, 0.4, no, because this is the T, which is time, so time should be 2 seconds, not 0.4 seconds. They've swapped the variables there. It should be C. And again, the answer key that this guy put says it's A. You don't know if it's the maximum height or not. I can find it real quick. It is negative 10 over 2 minus 4.9. Okay, what is that? That's about 5, so that should be about 10 so it's about 1 second. So the maximum height actually occurs around 1 second. So if it's 1 second here, the height should be 5-ish. That's clearly not right. So again, the answer key is not correct, I believe. At least, again, this key that in the document that I found. It should be C. Okay, again, if I'm incorrect, please leave it in the comments and then we can discuss. Okay. What are all possible solutions to the given equation? 15 minus x in absolute value minus 9 equals 0. To solve this, let's isolate the absolute value. And then there's 2 branches all the time. 15 minus x is 9, and 15 minus x is negative 9. So in this branch, x is 15 plus 9, which is 24. This branch, x is 15 minus 9, which is 6. Answer is D. Lucia and John worked together to make 60 paper flowers for a school party. The line shown represents the possible combinations of time in hours spent by Lucia and John to fulfill this task. According to the graph, on average, how many paper flowers will Lucia make per hour? Okay. You can just imagine when... Okay, so this is asking Lucia makes per hour. So you can imagine when John doesn't do anything, so 0 hours, then Lucia has to make all of them. So time spent by Lucia in hours, so 12 hours to make, how many flowers? 60 flowers. Okay, so actually it's asking for flowers per hour, so let's flip the fraction. 60 flowers per 12 hours. We can simplify this. This is just 5 flowers per 1 hour. Answer is B. Okay, you could have did it like that, or you could have just looked at the slope as well of this line. To get from here to here, what's the slope? The change in x is 1, which is the time John spends. And then if he spends 1 hour, then Lucia spends less time because he's helping now. And the change there is 1 hour there, right? Actually, will that help over there? That won't quite help because this is both hours. Never mind. Ignore the thing I said about slope. You can solve it this way. Okay. Graph of y equals f of x minus 1 is shown. Which equation could define the function f? Okay, so what does this one look like? Let's assume that it's, see, this one, sometimes looking at the choices right away helps. We can assume that it's 2 to the x, some sort of that. We're asked for f, by the way. We're not asked for f of x minus 1, which is graphed there. So f is y plus 1. So y plus 1, we want to shift this back up by 1. So it'll look more like this. Look something like this up here. what is this graph over there? It's probably 2 to x plus 2, right? 2 to x, the y-intercept is here, and they got shifted up by 2. So the answer is probably D. That's the best answer, and per the key, this is correct. Okay, in the xy plane, the graph of the given equation is a circle. If the circle is inscribed in a square, what is the perimeter of the square? Okay, so we probably want the radius of the circle is immediately what I'm thinking. By the way, what circle is inscribed in a square? It looks like this then. Let me draw it over here. Like that. And we asked for the perimeter of the square. Okay, so how do we get the radius of this circle? If we have the radius, or the diameter, which is just twice the radius, we have the side of the square. Okay? When you have something like this, you need to get it in the standard form of a circle. The x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is r squared. How do we do that? We can complete the square. I think that's what they want to do here, unless there's a faster way that I'm not thinking of right now. But since I'm doing this live, like it were exam, let's just complete the square. X squared minus 10x plus minus 10 over 2 squared, and then subtract it right away. Okay, plus y squared minus 6y plus minus 6 over 2 squared, and subtract it back right away. And then plus 40, or equals 47. Okay? Actually, let me just move those to the other side already. Minus 10 over 2 squared. And this one plus minus 6 over 2 squared. Okay? So this guy is just x minus 5 squared. This guy is just y minus 3 squared. This is the point of completing the square. This guy, minus 5 in the inside, moves to right there. That's why I didn't simplify it right away. Or I didn't do minus 5 in the square. I didn't put plus 25. I would be doing a necessary step. So this is equal to 47 plus 25 plus, what is that? That is 9, right? Okay, so what is the radius? Radius squared is this, so what is that value there? That looks like 81, does it not? So 67 plus 5, that's 72 plus 9, yeah, 81. Okay, so R is 9. Okay, so your diameter, this is 9, your diameter is 18, twice the radius, and therefore the perimeter of the square is 18 times 4, which is same thing as, that's that 40 plus 32. So that is 72. Answer C. Okay, so what happened here? We want to get it to the standard form. So I had to complete the square. That's a technique. That's foolproof. Which expression is equivalent to fifth root of this, where a greater than 0, b is greater than 0? Okay, so we can use properties of radicals to break this up like this. Okay, what's the fifth root of 32? Well, 2 to the fifth power is 32, so it's just 2. This is, we can rewrite it in, if we peek at the choices, we probably want an exponential form. 3/5 times b to the 4/5. Okay, so it looks like it is a hemisphere and a cone have circular bases of equal circumference and have been connected at their bases, as shown in the figure. The diameter of the base of the hemisphere is 6 cm, and the total height of the figure is 9 cm. What is the total volume of the cone and hemisphere? Okay. So it says the diameter of the base of the hemisphere is 6 cm. So what's the radius then? It's 3. This is a hemisphere. If it's a whole sphere, it'll be like down there, right? This is a hemisphere. So this height is the radius, which is 3. As we said, 3 is half of 6. Because this is the diameter, the radius is half of it. Okay, so this height of just the cone is 6 then. Okay, so what's the volume of a cone? This is in the formula sheet in the front. V of cone is 1/3 pi r squared h. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think this is correct. Okay, so what's the volume of the cone? 1/3 pi times, what's r? R is 3 as well, because it has the same base, right? So 3 squared is 9, h is 6, okay? So this is, if we cancel, that's a 2, that's 18 pi, right? V of the hemisphere is half times 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, so what is that? That is 3 cubed is 27. So it'll be 2/3 pi times 27. This would be a 9, so this is 18 pi as well. Whoops, kind of cut off, sorry. Both are 18 pi. We add them together, that is 36 pi. Okay, so for volumes, you can add them up, or do it separately and add them up together. Which the following expression is equivalent to? This guy, this is very easy. Hopefully you remember the formula. It is a over 4 squared plus 2 times a over 4 times b over 3 plus b over 3 squared. So that's a squared over 16 plus, what is this? This would be a 2 on the bottom, so ab over 6 plus b squared over 9. That looks like D. Okay. One of the two linear equations in a system is given. The system has exactly one solution. Which equation could be the second equation in this system? So when it's a linear system, linear equations, there's different cases. If there's no solution, they're parallel lines. If there's an infinite many number of solutions, then they're the same line. And then everything else is exactly one solution. Okay, so do we have any of the same lines here? Well, if I divide everywhere by -2, both sides by -2, I would get this one, would I not? So that's the same line. We would cross this out because that would be infinitely many solutions. Okay? This one, let's see. Okay, so what is the slope also? It would be, so if we write it in slope-intercept form, this is what y is 2 minus 2x over minus 2, which is x minus 1, something like that, right? If I did it in my head correctly. Okay, so the slope is 1. If we move this 8 to the other side, 8x, sorry, and we divide by 8, the slope would be 1 as well, so it's a parallel line, so it's not this guy, okay? Similar for this. If we move the minus 3x to this, or 3x to this side and divide by -3, the slope is 1. So cross that out, process of elimination, C. Okay, so that was the concepts this was testing. If you know the different cases for linear system with just two equations. Okay. Which the following could be the graph of this guy? Well, this guy is a rational function. We know that there is a vertical asymptote at x is -2. And there's a horizontal asymptote at x is, horizontal is y equals something. Y equals -4. Degrees are the same. Take the ratio of the leading coefficients. Okay, so there should be a horizontal asymptote and a vertical asymptote. So which ones don't have a vertical asymptote at x is -2? So this has a vertical asymptote at x is 2, it looks like. Cross that out. This is fine. So these three seem fine for vertical asymptote, but horizontal asymptote, there's one at y is -4. This one's clearly not that. The only one that looks like it is D, right? That's how we do that one quickly. if the given function f is graphed in an xy plane where y equals f of x, what is the y-intercept of the graph? Y-intercept is when x is 0. So 5 to the 0 plus 3 is 1 plus 3, which is 4. So it's 0, 4. Answer is B. Free response time for this section. Slope. Function m is defined by this guy. What is the slope of the graph in the xy plane? The slope is mx plus b. It's m, so it's 30. Easy. Function f is defined by this guy. For what value of x does f of x is equal to 1? So 1 equals 1/5 x plus 9 over 10. This is what it's asking for to solve for x. Multiply by 10 on both sides to make your life easy. So 10 is, we distribute this 10, it'll be 2x plus 9. So 1 is 2x, and x is half. Done. Line k in the xy plane has slope this and y-intercept this, where p is a positive constant. What is the x coordinate of the x-intercept of line k? Okay, so if it's y is minus 2p over 5x plus p, okay, this is what it says, right? Line k has slope this, mx plus b, it's the m. Y-intercept is b, so p goes there, okay? X-intercept is when y is 0. Okay, now we solve for x. I feel like there might be a quicker way to do this, but that's fine. Okay, so it'll be minus p is minus 2p over 5x. We can divide by p on both sides, that would go away. And divide by negative 1 on both sides, those would go away. The negative sign, so 1 is 2/5 x. So x is 5 over 2. Okay, that's how I would do that. In triangle DEF, point G not shown lies on DE. If the measure of DFG is x, so let's just mark G somewhere. D lies on DE. Let's say that's G. If the measure of DFG is x, and the measure of GFE is y, what is the value of cosine x minus sine y? So you got to be careful here. G, as it says, it's just somewhere here. Doesn't mean you can put a right angle there. You don't know if it's a right angle. Okay? But what we do know is this x and y, as we drew it, we know they're complementary. So cosine x minus sine y, if you remember the relationship, the answer should be 0. Okay? Let me see if I can derive it real quick. You should remember that cosine of 90 minus x is sine x, and sine of 90 minus x is cosine x. You can easily prove it with a right triangle as well. Okay? So we know that x plus y here is 90. Okay, so we can write this as cosine x minus sine of 90 minus x. Sine 90 minus x, as I just said, is cosine x. So cosine x minus cosine x, which is 0. Okay, so that's why it's 0. Okay, last one for this no calculus section. What is the sum of the solutions to the given equation? Be careful, it's asked for sum. So can we factor this? 3x, it has to be like this. It would be, it can only be 7 and 1, right? So would that work? That doesn't seem like, actually it should work. 7 and 1. Actually, is this factorable actually? Let's abandon this because this is the last question. Usually it's the most challenging. Let's just use the quadratic formula. Why don't we just do that? X is 2 plus or minus square root of 4 minus 4 times 3 times minus 7 over 2 times 3, which is equal to 2 plus or minus square root of 4 plus, what is that? That's 12 times 7, so that is 70 plus 12 times 7, 70 plus 14. That is 84, right? Over 6. Okay, so this is 2 plus or minus square root of 88 over 6. Okay, so what are our two solutions then? We don't have to simplify this actually. So it'll be, ask for the sum of the solutions. We have our two solutions here. It'll be 2 plus square root 88 over 6 plus 2 minus square root 88 over 6. These are our two solutions. They ask for the sum, so we're going to sum it. Okay, so it's root 88 over 6, and then we have a minus root 88 over 6. Those would go away. So we are left with 2 6 plus another 2 6, which is 2/3. And that's our answer. Okay, so this was actually not trying to, you just had to use the quadratic formula, simple as that. It was not factorable for sure. I was even thinking right away that it shouldn't be because it's the last problem, it can't be that easy. The calculator allowed section now. Number 1, Touring Company purchased a new tour bus for 100K. Graph models the value of the bus as a function in time since it was purchased. This makes sense. Usually the value of a vehicle decreases over time. Which of the following is closest to the number of years after the company purchased the bus that the value of the bus will be half of the purchase price? Purchase price is 100K. We want 50K. 50K is right here. So this is where the time it happened when the value halved. So what's this? This is what? This is in intervals of 2, I'm assuming 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 6 and 8, so about 7. Or 6, probably the closest one. B, 6. Okay, that's the answer. 90% of 80, 90% is 90 over 100, or 9/10 of is times 80. What is that? This is just 8, that's 72. Okay. Scatter plot shows the average price of a ticket to a certain theater for 12 select years from 1959 to 2014. An exponential model is used. See, notice how I'm not even reading everything. For which year is the predicted value of the average ticket price closest to $40? $40 is here. This is what? I don't know. Let's estimate 32-ish years after 1959 plus 32. So let's round up to 1960. So 1960, so that's 1992, around there. That's the best answer. See, there you go. See, you can round for things like these. Make your life easier instead of actually computing this. Again, this is not too bad to compute, but sometimes the numbers aren't nice. So just round, and then you have a good gauge of whether you round. If you round it up, then you have a good gauge that it might be a little lower. That correct answer might be a little lower than what you got since you rounded up. Versus similarly, if you round it down, the correct answer might be a little higher since you rounded down. Okay, so just have some good number sense for that to make your life easier. Okay, for this one, questions 4 and 5 refer to here. Price of 3 items in a certain store. On this date, same day, purchased eggs and potatoes for a total of 80 cents. Purchased 24 eggs based on prices in the table. How many pounds of potatoes did she purchase? So if she purchased 24 eggs and potatoes for a total of 80 cents. She purchased 24 eggs. How much is each egg? Well, that's 12 eggs is that, so 2 dozen eggs she basically purchased. So she spent 54 cents. 54 cents on the eggs. So that means she had 26 cents for the potatoes. Okay, 2 cents per pound of potatoes. So she actually, I did my math wrong because I don't see a 13 there. Okay, so 24 eggs. This is not 54 cents. What was I doing? It's 74 cents. That makes more sense. So then if she has 74 cents, she spent 74 cents on eggs. There is 6 cents left on potatoes. So she bought 3 pounds then. Okay. Next, on January, this guy, same date, Samuel purchased S pounds of sugar, P pounds of potato. Total cost is 16 cents. Total weight of the purchase was 4 pounds based on the prices in the table, which system equation represents the situation. Okay, so S pounds sugar, P pounds potato. Total pounds is 4, so S plus P is 4. We should see that, and that only is true for A and B. Cross those two out. Now, he spent 16 cents, so this is the price per pound for sugar, so 0.06 times S, that's the price he paid for the amount of sugar he got. 0.06 times S plus 0.02 times P. That's how much he paid for the P pounds of potatoes. This price per pound, this is how many pounds he got. 0.02 times P. So it should be A. Okay? Didn't really have to compute anything for this one. Can I turn the page? Can I not? Okay. For a polynomial function, the table shows some values of x and the corresponding values of y. Which of the following could be the graph of this polynomial function? Okay, x is minus 2, y is minus 2. X is minus 2, y is clearly not minus 2. Same for this. Okay, so these two look fine. X is minus 2, y is minus 2. That looks more right. Okay, so at 1, it's negative 2. At 1, is it negative 2? 1 is around here. It's a little more than that, right? This one's better. 1, comma, negative 2. So the answer is probably D. Okay, and that's the right answer. In the given scatter plot, a line of best fit for the data is shown at x is 2. What is the y predicted value by the line of best fit? X is 2. What's the y value by the line? 3. Easy. Right circular cylinder has a height of 6 inches. The radius of the base of the cylinder is 5 inches. What is the volume of the cylinder? Volume of the cylinder is pi r squared. H, area of the base, times the height. So this is pi times radius is 5, so times 25 times 6. So that is 150 pi. Okay, didn't even need a calculator. You should know that 25 times 4 is 100, and then there's 2 more, so 150. Function f is defined by mx plus b, where m and b are constants, such as m is positive, b is between minus 7 and 7, which is following the graph of y equals f of x. So if m is greater than 1, the slope is positive. This has a positive slope. This has a positive slope as well, but it doesn't look like it's 1, because for each change in x, so if you start from here to a step in x, you should increase by 1. Doesn't quite look like it, right? Let's keep it for now, though. Actually, it's really clear it's not. Because if you go by 5, it should have increased by 5, which it does not. It should have been up here then, so we can cross that out. Okay. Positive slope. This one, again, doesn't look like it's a slope of 1. If we go into x in one direction, it should go up the same number of units, right? So cross that one out. Actually, is that... Let's see. Actually, it's the scale, so let's keep that one for now. It seems might be right, but this one's for sure not right. Okay, so let's continue with the slope. So if we go into step in 1 in the x, the y should increase by 1, but it looks like increased by 5 here. Cross that one out. This one, if we go into x by 1, looks like the y increased by 4. See, this is the scale. So the answer actually is D. This one, the scale looks more correct. Okay, because the scale in the y looks like 2. So for every 2 in the x, this tick mark is 1. 2 in the x, you go up by 1 tick in the y. So that looks more right. Okay, so be careful with the tick marks and the scale of the graph. That's what we usually say, the scale of the graph. Okay, ratio of a person's weight on Earth to the person's weight on the moon is constant. That should sound familiar. Maybe a proportion. An astronaut who weighs 540 newtons on Earth weighs 90 newtons on the moon. Another astronaut weighs W newtons on Earth, which the following expression represents this astronaut's weight in newtons on the moon. Okay, so exactly as I was saying, you want to set up a proportion. Okay, so if it's 540 newtons on Earth to 90 newtons on the moon, okay, it'll give you some ratio. It's the same ratio as if this person weighs W newtons on Earth, then you'll have, let's call it X newtons on the moon. So we want to solve for X. So X is just W times 90 over 540. Okay? What is that? What's 9 divided by 54? That's 1/6, right? So W over 6. Answer is D. 11 and 12 refer to this guy. As a literature major in college, Sean has read books written by a variety of European authors. The table above shows the number of books written by British, French, German authors that Sean has read, categorized by the century in which the books were written. This is probably a probability question. Let's see. If a book referred to by the table that was written in the 20th century is to be selected at random, what's the probability that the book was written by a British author is 15 over n. Which of the following best describes n in this context? Okay, so let's go back to the table real quick. It's asking that if a book referred to by the table that was written in the 20th century, this row is to be selected at random. The probability that the book was written by the British author is 15 over n. 15 is not a coincidence that it's here. British and 20th century, 15 of them. So what's the n then? It gives us the condition here. If a book referred to by the table that was written in the 20th century is to be selected at random. How many 20th century books are there? It's this whole row here. So it should be 15 plus 10 plus 3. We don't need the actual number because it's all words here, but let's see what the choices say. Total number of books, that's not true. That's not what I just said. It should be B. That sounds right. Number of books written by British author. No, that's the 15. 15 and 20th century is B. It is this one. I mean, the 15, not B. 15 is British and 20th century. British total would be 15 plus 9. So not C. And D, number of books written by the table that were either. It's nothing to do with that. Okay, so the answer is B. Conditional probability. Okay. Sean also read D books that were written in the 20th century by European authors other than those in the table. The number of books referred to by the table that were written by British authors in the 20th century is approximately 39% of D. Of the following, which is the closest to the value of D? So how do we solve this? So the number of books referred to by the table that were written by British authors in the 20th century, British and 20th century, is 15 equals approximately 39% of D. So 0.39 times D. You can solve for D. Let's use the calculator. 15 divided by 0.39. So D is 38.46, something like that. Answer C. Okay. Walls of a small apartment were covered using exactly 3 gallons of paint. The paint was spread uniformly over a total area of 960 square feet. What is the rate in gallons per square foot at which the paint was used? So use the units to help you out. Okay, gallons per square foot. So 3 gallons divided by 960 square feet. That gives you the units right? Gallons per square foot. And that might be the answer. Let's see. It would be 1 over 320 gallons per square feet. And that is choice B, and that's correct. See, use the units to help you out. The shaded region represents the solutions to which inequality? Okay, first of all, let's get the equation of this line. The y-intercept is what? 1, 2, 3. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but it's 3. So we can eliminate this and this. Okay, the slope is positive, clearly. So the answer is D. And this makes sense because it's y, the y value is less than or equal to, so it should be below the line, which this is below the line. Okay. Which of the following represents values of x and their corresponding values of f of x for a decreasing exponential function f? So the function should look like this. It decreases quickly and then decreases slower and slower, but still decreasing. This is clearly increasing. This is the y value, the second row. Get rid of it. This one looks right. The exponential, the value that you're multiplying looks like it's half. That's right, this is increasing. Clearly eliminate that. This one, it's not, it's decreasing, but it's not exponentially decreasing. So as I said, over here it was times half. Over here is times half. Over here is times half. So it's exponential because it's half to some power. Here, it would be 25 over 17. Over here would be 17 over 9. Actually, sorry, 9 over 17 and 17 over 25. And over here would be times 1/9. These are clearly not the same value, unlike here. So the answer is B. Okay. Table shows the yearly snowfall in cm in Toronto for 9 years. What is the median yearly snowfall in Toronto for these years? The median. So you want the middle, but you need it in sequential order. So, okay, let's be careful. So let's see if I can do it without pre-sorting. So this is the smallest. The biggest is, looks like this one, right? Next smallest is this one. And then next biggest is probably this one, right? Next smallest must be the 89. Next biggest, it looks like this one. And the next smallest is this one. And the next biggest, this one. So this is the median, 114.9. The middle one in sequential order. Okay. Which equation has no solution? I can already tell it's A, because if I subtract x on both sides, 0 equals 1. Is that possible? No. The others, you should be able to get a value of x equals something. This would be actually infinite solutions because 0 equals 0. That's always true. So that's infinite number of solutions. Over here, it should just be one solution, looks like, and over here as well. It should be just one solution. Okay? Here, if this guy was the value of x plus 9, I don't know why they're asking. This is so simple. X plus 9 is 25 plus 5, which is 30. Answer is A. What's the sum of the solutions to the given equation? Okay, so this probably is factorable. It's nice numbers, so let's factor it. It's x minus 4, x plus 3 equals 0. So the solutions are x is minus 3 and 4. The sum of them would be 1. 4 minus 3 is 1. 4 plus negative 3 is 1. If a and b are positive numbers, which the following is equivalent to the expression above, well, a and b are positive, so square root of a squared. Actually, we write it like this. Square root of a squared is just a. This is, or we can even write this as b to the 6 over 2 power. This is a to 2 over 2 power. Okay, so this is just a. This is b cubed. Properties of exponents. Dot plot shows 9 values of a data set with a mean of A and a median of B. Value of 46 is removed to create a new data set of 8 values with a mean and of Y and a median value of Z. Which of the following best compares the mean and the median values? Okay, so you don't want to spend time to calculate this. You have to have a very good, you should have a very good conceptual understanding of mean and median and how they get affected by an outlier like this guy. Okay, the median doesn't get affected too much because you're just picking the middle number. We can even quickly find the median if we want to. How many points are there? There's 9. So we can find the middle one quickly. It'll be 4 on both sides, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The median should be 40 if we include this point. If we don't include it, then we have to take the average because there's an even number. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's still 40 actually. The median does not change. Okay, so a equals y. I can tell right away, so eliminate these two. Actually, not a equals y, that's the mean, right? So eliminate these two, because b is the median, z is the median. Yeah, the median is the same. But here, you don't want to calculate the mean. You can already know that. In mean, you're adding everything. So this is going to screw up your mean and make it bigger. So you can imagine the mean of, what's the variable? There's too many variables. A would be greater than y. So the answer is D. Because you're adding this value, so it's going to make your sum bigger. Versus if you don't have this, your sum's not as big. That's how the mean gets affected. Okay. In a linear function, g of 2 is this, g of 3 is this. Which equation defines g? Linear. So we can find the slope. What's the slope? Change in y over change in x. So change in y, it is 9 over 2 minus 3/4 over change in x, which is 3 minus negative 2. This is our slope. So this is, that's 18 over 4, so 15 over 4 over 5. So this is 15 over 4 times 1/5, which is 3/4. That should be the slope, 3/4. Eliminate c and d right away. Okay, what is the y-intercept then? Okay, well, if the slope is 3/4, we can add 3/4. If we go 2 steps in the x, then we would be at x is 0 to get the y-intercept, right? So it would be 2 times 3/4. Okay, so that is what? That's 6/4. That is 9/4, right? So the answer should be A. That's one way to do it, instead of actually going to use slope-intercept form to find the BE, or to use point-slope form. You can just intuitively do it like that as well. Okay, 23 and 24 refer to this. Function f models the length of above ground growth of cotton seedlings after emerging from seeds, where x represents seed mass, and seed mass between 60 and 80. Okay, which the following is the graph of the model? Well, the y-intercept is negative 2.9. So, and the slope is positive. So we can already eliminate c because this is a negative slope. Okay. It's hard to tell for the y-intercept because this is far out over here. Y-intercept is when the x is 0, right? So what if we put x is 80? You can put it in your calculator. Let me even do it right now. What's the value? 80 times 0.28 minus 2.9. It's 19.5. So it should be 19.5 over 4x is 80. This one looks right. This one's not 19.5. Cross that out. This one's not 19.5. Cross that out. Answer is A. What's the best interpretation of 0.28 in this context? Well, 0.28 is the slope. So what are the two variables again? Its slope is change in y over change in x. So change in, what's the y? The length, right? Change in length over change in, what's x? Mass. Change in length and change in mass. So let's see. This is the slope, remember. Change in length over change in mass. Mass of this, it should be a rate. Maximum, nope, these two are not rates right away. Cross those out. These two look more like rates. Now for every 2 seedlings with 1 cm difference in the estimated difference in the mass, for every 2 seeds with 1 mg difference, yeah, because remember it's change in length over change in mass. So if you take a step in the x, or the mass, you should have 0.28 change in the length. So that's matching this one, D. Okay? This one, it just flipped it around. Okay, each of the frequency tables represents a data set. Which statement best compares the medians of the two data sets? Okay, so median, again, is the middle numbers, so let's count. How many are there total? 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. So what's the fifth one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the median for this one is 6. For this one, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 9 as well. So we want the fifth one. So it's, the fifth one is right, actually, yeah, we want the fifth one because there's 4 on both sides. Yeah. So, okay, so fifth one is 4, right? The fifth one's there. Median is in sequential order, right? So that's why I looked from up here. Okay, so 6 and 4, which best compares the medians? Well, the median of data set 2 is less than, or data set 2 is, data set 1 is greater than. So it should be, the answer says D though. There's not information to compare the medians. Frequency table. I don't think it's not enough. This is, you even compute the mean, technically. Okay, so you can double check me on this, but I believe it should be B. Yeah, it should be B. I don't know why the key said D. There is enough information. Because I can list this out as 3, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 7, 7. I can get the median. Can I not? Oh, it's totally cut off. I can get the median from here, can I not? And then I can list out these similarly. So it should be B in my opinion. By examining pollen in the soil, scientists estimate that number of this tree doubled every 664 years. The N trees in the earliest known sample, where N is constant, which, okay. So this is the exponential growth model. Hopefully you recognize this. Initial value is N, and it should be 2 to some power, which they all are. Now, which one is it? So you can just imagine when 0 years have passed, you should have N trees still. That's the amount that was in the beginning. So 0 years passed, you still have the same amount, right? You can't divide by 0 here clearly, so it's not B. Oh, okay, so before that, this one, the answer key does say B. I was looking at this D for this, so it is B. Okay, back to here. If we plug in x as 0, we'll have 2 to 0, which is 1, that's fine. 2 to 0 is 1, that's fine. Here we had 2 to the 664, so that's not n anymore, so cross that one out. Now, which one is it here? So you can imagine, at 664 years, you would have 2n. So what happens when we put 664 here? Well, it's 2 to some huge number now, so that's not it. 664 here, it's 2 to the first power, so 2n. That's what we were expecting. Okay, x greater than 0, p% of x is 13. Which expression represents x in terms of p? So p% of x, so p over 100 times x is 13. It represents x in terms of p, so x is 13 times 100 over p. Answer is D. As simple as that. Figure represents a rectangular pool with a width of 20 meters and a length of 25 meters that is surrounded by a concrete border with a uniform width of x meters. If the combined area of the pool and the concrete border is 546 square meters, what is the value of x? Okay. Combined area of this. Okay, so let's draw it. So the width is 20. Let's say this over here is 20, and this over here is 25. Okay. So for the outer over here, you'll see that it's 25 plus the x plus another x, so plus 2x. And over here, it is 20 plus 2x. 20 plus this x plus this x. Okay, so let's set up the equation. 20 plus 2x times 25 plus 2x is 546. The length times the width of the outers is 546. That's the area. Okay. Now solve this with a calculator. You could just graph it if you have a graphing calculator, and find the zeros. So I'm going to do that. Okay. So it'll be 20 plus 2x times 25 plus 2x minus 546 equals 0. So let's see. Okay, so this is how the graph looks. You'll see that x is some negative value. We're not going to take x to be negative. You can't really have a negative number of meters, right? But what's this value over here? Find intersections, find zeros, or find roots. That's x is 0.5. Answer is A. In the figure shown, AE and BD intersect at point C, which the following additional pieces of information is not sufficient to prove that ABC is similar to EDC. AB is parallel to DE, Well, if these are true, then we know that these angles, this angle here is congruent to this, and this angle here is congruent to that. And because you just need two angles to prove that two triangles are similar, two congruent angles to prove that two triangles are similar, because the third angle must be 180 minus those other two, so they must be the same. So this is sufficient, so cross that one out. Measure of D is equal to the measure of B. Is that enough? Well, that would be, because if this is equal to this, we know these are also vertical angles. Okay, so these must be congruent, and then these must be congruent, so we know the two angles. Third angle must be congruent as well, so similar triangles. Yes, that's good. Length of AB is equal to the length of DE. How would knowing the length help us? That won't really help, right? So let's keep that for now. It doesn't seem to be true. Measure of A is equal to the measure of B. A is equal to B. Is that true? And D is equal to E. Yes, because again, these are vertical angles. And if these are the same and these are the same, then, because they must sum up to 180, and these two are already the same, so what's left is these two angles. And if they're the same, then it's just half of the remaining, right? So D is fine. So answer C. Hopefully that made sense. Area of a rectangular region is increasing at a rate of 20 square feet per hour, which follows close to the rate in square meters per minute. Okay? So we gotta convert. Use your units to help you out. So 20 feet squared per hour. Okay, there in 1 hour there is 60 minutes. Okay, and then they tell us 1 meter there's 3.28 feet. But see, when you have your units, you can tell that, well, the hours cancel. If you just put it once, then you'll still have a unit of feet on top. It'll only cancel one of the two powers. So you gotta do it one more time. So there's 2 feet, that will cancel the whole feet squared. So now let's put this into calculator. That is, what, 20 divided by 60, divided by 3.28, divided by another 3.28. So that is 0.030984, something like that, meters per minute, or meters squared per minute. So the answer should be A. Okay. Line graph shows the number of cars a salesperson sold for each of the first 6 months of the year. For how many of these months did the salesperson sell 10 or more cars? 10 is here, 1, 2, 3 months. Very easy question. Just need to know how to read a graph. Dot plot shows the estimated market values for 15 houses in a neighborhood. What is the maximum estimated market value in thousands of dollars for the data set? The maximum is over here, 178, as simple as that. Easy question again. Just need to know how to read that dot graph. Dot plot. Line X passes through the points this and this in the XY plane. If the equation for line K, or line K, did I say X? Line K. Line K is written in the form y equals mx plus b, where m and b are constants, was the value of m. M is the slope. So change in y over change in x. That is 6 minus 1 over 2 minus 1, which is 5 over 1, which is 5. Answer is 5. This is probably a probability question. Table shows distribution of 2 types of trees at 2 different sites. If a red maple tree represented in the table is selected at random, red maple, so these two, what is the probability of selecting a tree from site A? So from a red maple tree selected at random, there's a total of 90 maple trees, red maple. Probability of selecting a tree from site A, there's 63 of them. Okay, decimal as a fraction, just put it in the calculator. So 63 divided by 90, that is 0.7. I would fill that in. solution to the given system of equation is x comma y. What is the value of 8x minus 3y? So honestly, at this point, you can just graph it in your calculator as well. So let me just do that. So the first equation would be, let me even show you, it'll be 44 minus 5x divided by 4. Okay, your second equation would be 17 minus 3x divided by -7. Graph it. Point of intersection is there. Find intersection, that is 8 comma 1. Okay, so it's 8 times 8 minus 3 times 1, 64 minus 3, 61. Okay, you don't have to solve it by hand since you're allowed a graphing calculator. Actually, I don't know the state of the digital test right now if you allowed a graphing calculator there, but at least in the traditional method, pen and paper, you're allowed a graphing calculator, I believe. Double check me on that if you want. A scientist takes 2 samples of Earth's crust, each with a mass of this many grams. Sample A has density 3 grams per cubic meter. Sample B has density of 2.7 grams per cubic meter. How much greater is the volume in cubic cm of sample B than sample A? Okay, so let's handle A first. Each have a mass of 3240 grams. 3240 grams times has a density of 3 grams per cubic centimeter. So in each centimeter, cubic centimeter, we have 3 grams. So what's that? Put it in your calculator. 3240 divided by 3, that is 1080. For B, we do similar, 3240 grams. There is a density of 2.7 grams per cubic meter. So 3240 divided by 2.7. That is 1200. How much greater in volume in cubic centimeters of sample B than sample A? Clearly, B is greater than A, so we're already on the right track at least, and that is 120 more. What is the diameter of the circle in the xy plane? This is very easy. The radius squared is 64. This is already in standard form, so radius is 8. Diameter is 2r, which is 16. Okay, this one better be a hard one. This is the last problem. Usually they're harder. In the given equation, k is a positive constant. The equation has exactly one real solution. What is the value of k? Okay, even I have to think how to approach this. Exactly one real solution. Oh, okay, I know right away how to approach this. It has to be something squared is 0. Okay, so we need to factor this as something squared. So it's probably 2x plus 3 squared. Why do I think that right away? Because if I expand it out, it is 4x squared plus 2 times 2x times 3 plus 9. Over here and here already match right there. Okay, so k would be 2 times 2 times 3, which is 12. And that's the answer. Not too bad. You just had to recognize that. If it's only one solution, it has to be in factored form. It's the same factor times the factor times the same factor. So another way to write it is that one factor squared. It has a multiplicity of 2. So we can use that simple square formula. It's like a plus b squared is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. That's what I did right there. Okay. Hopefully this helped just to see how I thought through the problems. Hopefully most of them quick. I did them, some of them kind of quick. And hopefully if you found the same document I did and you got some of them wrong, or your answer didn't match the key, as you saw some of my problems didn't match the key as well. My solutions didn't match the key. So if you got the same one as me, you should be good. I'm pretty confident that the key is not 100% correct. All right, so as usual, please like this video if you found it helpful in any way. And please subscribe as well if you haven't already.